First off, just if you have any questions, let's get those right down right now, and so see if we can answer them as we go. Anything off the top of your head that you need to know right away?
Not yet. I can't think of anything yet.
Okay. All right, that's fine. We'll go, and probably things will pop up as we're talking about it. So, a little bit about this class. Prior to all of this big COVID mess, this observation class was one where you could go into a classroom setting, borrow one, or in one that you just happen to be working in, and you could observe children in that setting. But that's really not real practical quite yet. Hopefully we'll move to that in the future. And it used to be a class where you would actually have a final exam, and it was an essay exam. And that's not really popular with everybody. And I really didn't like necessarily having essay exam as the final, because that's really not my style either. So I did some revamping and tried to figure out how we can make this class available to folks who were not in an ECE setting and probably couldn't borrow one because things were closed up pretty tight. So my modification was that you would be able to adopt a family, friend's family, or your someone in your relatives, or a neighbor's kids, or whatever it is that you could do, or that you would be able to actually go into a setting if you were working there, as they have opened back up somewhat. That being said, in wanting to get rid of the actual essay part, we're doing a portfolio. And I want you to think of it in simple terms. A portfolio is basically going to be a compilation of what you're doing throughout the term. But how you put it together is going to be somewhat up to you. There are going to be some criteria that you have to have. So some things that you need to have included, but the way that you put it together is going to be up to you. You can make it as lovely as you want. It will be a digital one. However, I suggest that you actually have come up with one that you can actually hand the family. So when you do your observations and they're approved and you correct them and everything, and you have your final meeting, that you could actually hand the family a portfolio that has everything in it that you've done the whole term for their child. I think that would be an awesome thing for you to be able to do. So I've done a little bit more on the portfolio part for you, so that let's see if I can share my screen. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's go here. Okay, so I can go down to, can you see my screen? Yes?
No.
No? Okay. So let's see. I'll try and share it as soon as I get back. And you just can see my scratching my nose. That would be fun. Okay. So I'm going to share that. Now can you see my screen?
In a second, it's black right now. Oh, yep.
Okay, it's popping up. All right,
yep.
So here's basically, in a nutshell, what you're going to need to have in your final. And you're going to pick, out of all of the observations that you complete for the term, you're going to pick 7 of those. Pick the ones that will work for the child. So you can't use ones that would be for more than one child. So if you're doing one that has more than one child in it, then that won't be one you could use. But you could take the information from one that is one that includes lots of children, like for instance a frequency count, and include that information in the portfolio. Okay. So 7 of those completed observations. And when you do an observation, I'm going to give you feedback. And when I give you feedback, there may be some things that you might want to correct in your observation. So I don't want you to put anything in your portfolio that's going to have errors in it. Does that make sense? So if there's, okay, so if there's things that I ask you to change, and you go back and change them, but it won't be a big deal because the observations are all in Word. Did you figure that out? They're all in a Word format. So you can actually make your X's right into it. You can type right into it. And
Hello.
who's this?
It's Jimena. I'm having trouble connecting. You keep getting cut off, and I missed the whole beginning of it.
Okay, well, we're recording, so you can go back and get the first part. Okay? Oh, I think she's lost again. Okay, well, anyway, I'll make sure that she understands that she can listen to the recording. Okay, so so you'll need to put in those corrected observations. Then you'll need to have you want the work sampling form. In the work sampling form, you're going to start out with a blank one. But as you go, as you do observations and you get information from the family, you can start filling out the work sampling form. So you have it as a blank form now at the beginning of the term, and by the end of the term, you'll have pieces of it filled up. You won't be able to fill up the whole thing because there's just absolutely not enough time to do this in 1 quarter. So you'll use that as kind of as a place to put some of your information from the observations that you do. So you'll have the observations and you'll have your work sampling checklist. Then you're going to do at least 1 anecdotal or running record observation. And you know what? You can do more than that. If you feel like you want to get more information from the situation, you can do more than 1 anecdotal or 1 running record. But only 1 is required for the portfolio. And then you'll need 2 work samples with an evaluation and assessment in it. And remember that we want to be very respectful when we talk about children and use only appropriate terms in describing what children do. We don't describe their character, but their behavior, okay? And then you're going to be able to also compare if you have a work samples that are like something that you did at the beginning of the term, and then you add another one at the end of the term. You're going to compare and make a comparison between those 2 work samples. And then you're going to have a final family meeting. And you're going to have, and if you have family meetings in the middle where you discuss things with parents, those are also going to be reported. So all of your family meetings are going to be in your report with as much detail as you can put in them without being over the moon about it. And the most important one, of course, is going to be the final meeting when you discuss the portfolio with the parents or share that with them. So I want to report about that. And I'm not giving you specifics about that. I want you to put in what's important about it to you and to the family. And then you're going to come up with some goals for the child that you agree upon with the parents. And they're going to be long-term and short-term goals. So some things that children can do right away, and then some things that are going to be down the road. So you're going to help parents to understand what you mean by that. So a long-term goal would be maybe to have a child learn to ride a bicycle, but a short-term goal would be to learn to balance on 1 foot. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Difference between long-term and short-term?
Yeah.
Okay, and then and I haven't decided on a number of goals, and I think that I might just leave it open and then grade based upon how reasonable folks are, because if you get a lot of goals for kids, they're never going to get there. There's too many things for people to work on. But if you have a few goals, like say 3 to 5 goals, then that's something that's an easier thing to do. And then I have down here at the bottom is a grading rubric. So it has all of the things in there that you need to have in your portfolio, and I'll grade based on that. The very last goal down there at the bottom, it's does the student use observation assessment methods to develop individual child goals? This is the overall outcome goal. So all of the other things kind of lend to that last one. Okay, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? No questions so far?
Not any so far, but if I have any questions, I'll contact you.
Okay, so let's go back to.
I have a question.
Okay, who's that saying
I have
so?
a question.
Okay, Anna.
Me. Yeah, when we're making the portfolio, is it like a free-handed one, like we can make it however we want to, or is there like a link or something with a form that we have to fill out?
No. The only forms that are required in your portfolio are going to be the ones that I have here. The rest of it is going to be up to you to design. So you could, and it's going to be a digital portfolio, so it's all going to be online. The one that you submit to me, the one that you submit to parents is going to be, of course, can be a hard copy one. But the one you submit to me is going to be one that's online. So you can decorate it any way you want to. You can put it in you could even submit it in a PowerPoint type presentation, as long as you have all the pieces in there. And I'm leaving that part up to you. Obviously for this particular class, you don't have to have any resource list or bibliography. That's not necessary because everything's going to be in the text that you need to know anyway. So did that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else right now? So let's go back to week 1, and there were some things that are missing still from folks, and I understand that sometimes getting those things from parents is a little bit difficult. But there are things that I still need you to have. When you do the portfolio assignments, it's going to be a complete or incomplete, but it still counts for your final grade. So if there are pieces, please go back and double check and make sure that you have everything there. If it says complete, then you're done. If I made a note about something that's missing, go back and see what it is that is missing. If you're confused about that, let me know. Every week, I'm in the process of doing this. I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation that includes more information on the assignments. It is an audio as well as video type PowerPoint. So you can hear more information about the assignments in those PowerPoints. Plus it's kind of an overview of each of the chapters that's included in the week. So that might help to clarify if you get confused about what you're supposed to be doing for the assignments. Just go ahead and take some time and look at those PowerPoints. The only thing is that when you want to see the PowerPoint, you have to download it first before you can get an audio. You can't just do it from you can look at it from the preview version, but you can't hear it from the preview version. So you have to actually download it to get it to play. This is also true if you want to print off just to have a checklist, you know, so that you can actually have it in your hand as a worksheet while you're doing an observation. You have to click that download in order to get it to print correctly. Otherwise, you end up getting a itty bitty piece of print as far as the observation goes. So all of those things have to be downloaded to come out nicely when you print them. But as I said, they are Word documents, and so you can write right into them. If you have trouble, they're all located in the, let's go to the course, no, let's go to modules. They're all located here in modules. So here's all your observation forms. And this is where I'm talking about that you actually have to click on the download button. So let's do class list log. Okay, so in order for this to, you have to make it download. That's not gonna make you, that's not gonna let you do it there. Okay, so all right, so there, it's gonna make me save it. So I would save it and then download it from there. If you get lost as far as you don't know where forms and stuff are, you can go to the file section. File section has lots of resources in it. So there's not only just the PowerPoints and stuff in here, but there's other things that you can look at to gives you information. Okay, and here's the observations again in Word format. Okay. Alrighty. So, any other questions so far?
I have a question on the final. So do you want the other things in paragraphs that are not the checklist, or?
Yes. Yeah. So if you're doing like a report on a family meeting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just type up a report from that, because they're not all going to be in the assignments. So if you have, so if you're actually visiting with a family and you're gathering information, like for instance, when you do the physical checklist, you may not have answers to all the questions, but you might talk to the family about whether or not a child can do some of the skills that are on the checklist. That'll be a family meeting. And so you just type a quick, a little paragraph about that tells what you talked about and what you came up with. And it doesn't have to be very long, but enough to give me an idea of the meeting, since I can't be in your pocket and go with you. So, so that would be that would be one of the example of what you would type up, for instance. Any other questions? No. So, okay. I don't think I have anything else that I can add, unless you can come up with something that you need to know more about. If you, I do have to say that I'm available during the week from about 9:30 in the morning till 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon. Monday through Thursday, I work part-time, but I'm usually available anyway, unless I have something else to do, like spend time with my family, go fishing, or something like that. So if you find an issue, it's best to look at the beginning of the week and see if you understand everything about the assignment and that you can access everything that you need to. And then let me know, and then if it's something I have to look into, then I have time to do that. If you try and catch me on a Sunday night, you might not find me. So remember that I might not be around. But that being said, you could, don't you dare restart device. No. Okay, so so right in the middle of a Zoom meeting, my machine wants to restart. Anyway, and that's one thing. And then, as some of you may have a hard time finding information about the chapters or something in the chapter that you need to know about that's important to use in your observation. And as I said, so if you go through the PowerPoint, that could answer some of your questions right up front. And then you don't have to worry about more information. Okay, so I think that's about it. Any other questions that you might have?
I have a question. What age are we supposed to be observing for the portfolio?
What age of the child for the observation?
Yes.
It's best to use children between 2 and 6 years old because that's where the observations are best used.
Okay, between 2 and 6.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anything younger than that, anything younger than 2 years old, I think we could go down to, I think we have our physical one goes down to 18 months, but anything younger than that is just really difficult to observe. There's a lot going on with toddlers, with tweens in between, and then up to age 6. Anything over 6 really is also puts you in another group of developmentally. So within that age range is best. Any other questions? You know, if you have children that are a little bit older or a little bit younger, talk to me about it. We'll see. Just get some more information, talk about it. Okay. Well, I guess that's it, gals. You know what? A+ is for you guys for showing up. If there was,
Where are you gonna post the video?
yes, I'll see if I can figure out how to get it posted. I sure have a hard time making these things post, but I'll figure it out for sure. What last
Where are
thing?
you gonna put it?
The last time I did this, what I'll do is I'll put it in the announcement if I can make it go.
Okay.
What I've had to do before is actually re-record it using Screencast-O-Matic and save it as a YouTube file because they really don't post well. This, I don't know, something about Canvas, it just doesn't like Zoom for some reason. I would put it on, I could put it in the cloud, but then you have to access the Zoom in cloud. I'll try, if I have to re-record it, I'll re-record it in, like I said, in Screencast-O-Matic and then save it as a YouTube. And that'll post in the announcements. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, gals. Good job, everybody, for showing up. And I hope that this has been helpful for you. Let me know if I can help. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
So we'll start.